We're so excited to introduce who comes from the world of IPL.
So please welcome Tania Suri. She's
Hi.
a sports management expert.
Which is your favorite team?
I don't have a favorite team. The first IPL it was whichever team Rahul Dravid was. So that's why team ही नहीं है यार. इसीलिए it's only one player this year. But I really hope RCB win this year.
If you could trade one player between two teams, who and why?
If I could trade a player, then I would just put Rahul Dravid in one team. Put him in one.
Yes, we live in the wheelchair.
Female broadcasters know the game better than half of the ex-cricketers on panel.
I think we kind of address this in whatever I have seen. But female cricketers know as much, if not more, than their male colleagues.
Should WPL matches be broadcast with only female commentators to make a statement?
Not at all. Never. No.
Who has more screen presence, Mayanti Langar or Harsha?
Nothing against Mayanti. Mayanti has a great presence, but
So in IPL, which young Indian players impressed you the most?
we know that there is a 14-year-old who's made it to a team.
Suryavanshi.
But
So
I-
cute that he played such a great innings.
Yeah, I saw that. There is some spark in him. I think if 3 years back someone had asked me that question, I would have said about Shubman also. You see the representation of women owners also. For all that anybody might say कि वो glamour aspect है, वो girl card play कर रहे हैं. हाँ कर रहे हैं. By the way, hard lesson in life that I learned. Girl card में problem क्या है? Can I ask you guys your favorite players now that you put me in a spot?
I think Dhoni came in the picture and match by match, like, you know. And I was like, are we winning this? This looks real and authentic.
So CSK?
Yeah. One cricket show or segment that seriously needs more female voices.
You don't have to mansplain cricket to a woman.
Tania, I want to know, said you love cricket. Where did your passion for cricket come from? And was it a particular player or the sport in general?
I think a lot of my cricket watching is thanks to Rahul Dravid. He's brilliant. He's such a gentleman. He's obviously a great player, but it's also very, very interesting listening to him. He speaks really well as well.
Hi viewers, we are so excited today because we are delving into the world of cricket, and especially as IPL is it's in full swing. Half the tournament is over. We're so excited to introduce a female ops who comes from the world of IPL, and she's going to share all the stories and all the things that we don't know behind the scenes, as well as how it is run.
So please welcome Tania Suri. She's a
Hi.
sports management expert. And Tania, we would like to know your journey starting, and then how representation of women in sports have evolved over the decade.
Okay, so like you said, I am a sports management professional, and I've been doing events for now 22 years, and I've been working on sports for about 16 to 18 years. My first official event for cricket was in 2007, I think, and then in 2008 I did the first IPL as part of DLF's core team, which was the title sponsor. So it's been a journey. It's been a long journey, and initially when we started working, I think there were very few Indian women who were working on sports per se in any sort of leading roles. I think when I started, we were barely 4 or 5 girls in the team, but there were a lot of international representation at that time because IMG London, especially in the IPL, IMG London was the agency that was working on it, and they were BCCI's agency, and they had a lot of female, actually that main person, Catherine, who led the entire team, was with the IPL for the longest time as well, till IMG left IPL. So they had a few female who I can say that we all learned from. A lot of us learned from, including the men. I think even the guys who worked with them learned a lot during our time when IMG was doing IPL. Now, obviously, there are a lot more women there because a lot more schools, sport management schools have come up everywhere. People are doing these courses from India as well as internationally. So there are a lot more girls now, thankfully, in the world of running sports, so to say. Maybe not so much in the admin side, which I hope changes soon, but definitely in the world of running the shows.
But what do you think? What kind of challenges women are facing, like athletes and like in these operational fields?
The usual. I feel sometimes, personally, I feel women are the best managers because we kind of know how to multitask, which I believe men don't at times. Women know how to multitask naturally. I mean, I'm not saying in terms of being a special skill, but naturally because we are known to have been brought up in the way of dealing with home also, and now in the recent generations also obviously outside. So I think women just multitask more. So they do a better job as managers because you need to deal with different people, which is also something women do more because you deal with a lot more people even at home. But those roles are not easily available. I think men, as in any side of work, just get more opportunities and promotions that women do. And that's a personal thing. I think I've just seen it a little bit maybe. I might be biased in that way. Maybe it's changing, but it is still there for sure. It 100% is. I hope it changes very soon.
Yeah, actually it should.
Yeah. But yeah, that is how it is. And like I said, it's changing. More women in the world of sports now, both sides. I think more athletes are also coming out because they have the backing. Definitely more people in the operations and execution side of it. More people in the... even in the broadcast, because you mentioned broadcast, even in the broadcast side of it now, there are a lot more female commentators and presenters who are coming out. I was just going to say, हमने शुरू किया था when Mandira Bedi was like a representation की inclusivity कर लेते हैं एक तरीके से, तो एक lady को ले आते हैं, but she didn't know sport probably, or she did her best. You can't deny that or take away from that. She did bring in that little spice into the whole thing. But now we have bona fide players who are now commentators who bring in that technical knowledge, who bring in the insight into how sports are, especially with women's cricket picking up as much as it is currently. So it makes a lot of difference when you have a woman's perspective into the whole commentary side of it as well.
So coming to the commentary side, do you think female commentators are perceived in a different way than compared to male commentators?
No, I don't think that is true. There are fewer female commentators, obviously, but that doesn't mean that they're perceived in a different way. See, we all know that technically the game for men and women does run a little differently. There are different benchmarks in terms of boundaries, in terms of bat weight, etc., etc. I mean, I also won't know all the technical details, but we know that there is a little difference because the physicality of a man and a woman is different. I mean, that's something everyone knows. But no, as commentators, as professionals who are talking about the sport in terms of knowledge, if that's what you're saying, no. In the time that I did a little bit of broadcasting experience that I have, where I worked with a certain company on certain tournaments, no, I don't think कि लड़की ने बोल दिया तो गलत होगा. Not coming from a cricketer.
Maybe you have to do more than...
No. I think I've seen everyone put in. I mean, you have to put in the research. So I mean, without taking any names, I've been fortunate enough to work in a team where we signed some of the biggest names in India and internationally on our commentary panel. And I've seen all of those guys do a lot of research. So whether it's the women, and not only in cricket, by the way, because I was fortunate to be part of the team where we also did commentary for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar in 22. So I met a lot of the football legends and Indian footballers. They all put in, they have their notes and they have their pen and paper ready, and they keep scribbling and writing and drawing charts. I think all of them do it. So it's got nothing to do with, and अगर कोई commentator आके insight दे दे and they'll tell you that they do more, from whatever we've seen, I don't think it is that the woman has to put in more efforts. You all have to know what you're going to be talking about. So if I am commenting on Dhoni, or if another male colleague is doing it, the stats and the work needs to be the same. So I don't believe that it's true for that aspect, at least, thankfully.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
It is.
But how has sports evolved over the years where women are getting equal opportunities? If maybe not equal, but like it's there. Like, you know, we can see all the work that has evolved over the years. How was it difficult back then? Is there a barrier to entry?
See, I was fortunate in the way of I went from doing event management into sports management through my event company. So I was working with an event company in Delhi, and my main client was DLF, and then DLF signed up as the title sponsor for IPL. So I just kind of, because it was my client, I kind of just transitioned into working sports, on the first IPL through them. Though I didn't do operationally, I didn't work on IPL in that one. I was a client face basically. But then I did the IPL. I met some people and I wanted to do sports management. So barrier for entry, I think, is more today rather than in our time. I think
Is it a competition?
because of competition. It's a very, very known fact that today there are more people who want to do sports management because everyone thinks there is this. It's like the new Bollywood of the new
Yes.
Indian film industry.
Actually.
Everyone thinks that, oh my God, we're going to there are people who message me on LinkedIn who are from banking and from investment backgrounds, but they're so bored. They don't want to do a desk job, so they think they want to do sports management. It is like the new Bollywood. Trust me, there's not all glamour. There's a lot of hard work. You travel consistently and continuously. You stay away from family. There are times when we all have kind of not taken care of our health, which when you're younger, you do it in the josh of it. As you grow older, which I have done myself, you realize that's something that you cannot do.
Compromise.
So I think it's more difficult today because there are a lot more people. So there's a lot of undercutting as well. Because I, at a certain level, having worked for 20 plus years, want to earn a certain amount of money or do work at a certain level. But because there are people, there's no rocket science in running. You're not a scientist in any way. So it's not like you need a specific knowledge. Yes, you need to understand the mechanics of sports. But if you're a good manager, if you're a good person who manages things, and I don't mean in terms of leading a team, only in terms of understanding and operationally running something, you can be a sports event manager, and which is why undercutting happens. Because I might be charging X and someone will say, oh, you know what, I'll charge X minus 1 and I'll learn in 3 days and 4 days. And any management is more on the job learning. It's not textbook. I can't learn from a book and see some whereas skill based, some are more knowledge based. So there are times when being an MBA or being a business school student or actually when you come into more professional side, architects, doctors, lawyers, you need to have certain knowledge. Management mein sports management, event management mein utna nahi hota. You can change your field. Like I said, a lot of people want to, but because they probably think it's all fun and games, and there's a lot of competition now, especially.
But do you think more women should be there in decision-making roles like directors, editors?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think it is changing. I mean, from all jokes apart, it is changing. There are certain aspects of the working life in any sector for that matter where I believe it was difficult. People women especially, knocked on a lot of doors and doors took time to open, but they are definitely opening. I have been fortunate enough to work in teams where, not because they want to, like I said, be inclusive, but they've genuinely thought that someone is capable enough or has the skills to come and join a team and add to it. And you see that change, especially in the media. A lot of the new position holders are women.
Yes.
In a lot of the new structures that are coming about in our top 2 media houses. I mean, our top 2 media houses today are 1. So you see a lot of women now being there. So it is changing. It is slow, but it is there. So you can't deny that fact. It can be faster, but it is what it is. It'll take time, but the good part is that I see a lot more girls, younger girls especially, being very passionate about the work that they're doing in the sports industry and otherwise also, because I do work on both sides. I work in the sports for maximum amount of time, but I do other events as well. So you see a lot of change there.
So who are your role models? Like, be it any woman athlete or commentator or anyone?
Oh, wow. Athlete or commentator, I don't know if I have a role model per se. There are a lot of them that I've worked with that I really like. So there's Natalie, there's Anjum. I'm really fond of her. I think she's got a really... I also have the fortunate experience of working with Sania Mirza was doing. So she's really good because she understands not only her sport and coming from a sports, like being a sports person herself, but her just her want to understand, like you said, research. So she went into that, put the effort of knowing what it is, because she's not a cricketer. She comes from tennis. So it makes a lot of difference when you see people like that working, because it inspires you to do better. In terms of operations, yes, I do have certain people that I've learned with. And when I say with, because I saw them at work, and that's how, it's not like they took classes and I went and attended those classes and learned from them. I learned with them because I saw them in action. So like I mentioned, Catherine is one person that I've seen at work, and I know certain things that I've seen her do, which I believe are good for a person who manages. And similarly on the IPL, I've worked with other people who've come from outside the country, who worked in, let's say, Australia or in South Africa, and they've come to India and worked on different, I've worked on 3 World Cups, so I've worked with people during the World Cup. So there are women there are some really good women who work in the ICC who are inspirational, really inspirational, because they've made a mark and they know what they're doing, and you want to be them. That is the aspiration. You want to be at that position because you want to be a person who takes decisions, who knows how to run certain things, who knows how to get certain things done, and is again very hands-on on field as well. And when I say on field, I'm obviously not talking about playing, but when you're running, you're also on field in terms of running the entire match and tournament. So yeah, there are a lot of people in there are so many women in the ICC that I look up to.
But that's so heartening to know, because when you see ICC, all the men are in suits and mostly men like that. That's what we come across. There are presentations and all of that. So it's great.
See, presentations and all are more admin guys, like guys who run. Let's say you are part of a organization, and then that's how you come. Or you're also probably like a corporate leader, and most of them will be men. That is a change that's taking. It's slow, but it's taking place. But behind the scenes, there are a lot more women. There are a lot more women for sure, and there are some women who are at very good positions who are doing very good work, for sure. So that is heartening to see. Yes, and it's good to see them in action. It's interesting to see them in action. आप उनको presentation में नहीं देखोगे, but it is a lot of Indian women, by the way. I might just add that. A lot of Indian women as well. So yeah, it's very good. It's very inspirational and aspirational, both. You want to be there, like I said. You want to be them.
Actually, thanks for coming to this podcast. It's so great to hear. Seriously.
Very cool.
It's like, from the outside, it looks like a male-dominated sport.
It is, yeah. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. It's not like it's all women.
Yeah,
but it's not like it's all men also. Yes, you do see at times where you feel like you're not being heard. But when you see such women who not only take decisions but are also heard and give their opinions and know what is to be done, and they are included in that conversation very nicely, not because they have to be, but because they are part of a senior setup. It's very nice to see. So there is change. Like I said, I wish there's faster change. But any change is good according to me. Anywhere where you're developing, and again, it's not to say ki, which is why and this might be like a segue into something else, which is why I totally don't believe in out and out reservation. I don't want 30% of women to be in the workforce, because that is not correct for men who might deserve a position but lose it. It's any sort of reservation, right? We've seen it with different things in this country also. But if a woman deserves it, then that point of having a say, getting the same amount of money, putting in the same amount of hours. For some reason, I don't know why there is this mindset that women need to put in more hours to show that they're more serious. No, you do your work, you go home. It's as simple as that. And that's how it should be for both men and women. Women just have to...
It should be merit-based, yeah.
Definitely.
Not gender.
Definitely. It has to be. It can't be... you'll ruin your own... It's like... You will not call... I understand if you want to get an opinion which is gender-based. Like today, you want to talk to somebody who's a woman and who's worked in sports, which is for most people's definition more male-dominated.
Yes.
But that shouldn't stop you from tomorrow bringing in the perspective of talking about sports, and it can be, we'll only talk to a woman. Even though I run a channel which might be women-centric, but men can give some really great insights into how probably come into the industry, because they might have brought in. I've been brought into the industry because I have a male mentor. No doubts in that. I came into events because I wanted to do events for a specific reason, and I stayed with events, and I got into sports because I saw the women working, but my main mentor, philosopher, guide is a guy. I've looked up to him. He's helped me in situations. But that is how it is. So you can't say only women and only men. It has to be, it always has to be a joint venture. Can't be anywhere else.
So tell us about the behind the scenes, how the setup works, running from a knob's perspective. When these big events we see, and they're actually... you don't see much errors when BCCI, ICC put up an event and everything is so smooth, at least because they're live events, right? So how much work and prep goes behind the scenes?
Okay, I don't want to get killed for something like this. There are all... See, when you're seeing a match में तो as such कोई error नहीं होगा, because the players are playing, and वो जो error होगा if there is an umpiring decision or if there's something, someone just streaks across the field because they want to meet their idol. उसके अलावा तो नहीं होगा, but backend पे जितना काम होता है जो नहीं दिखता है, we always say this that it's like how ducks in water. ऊपर से बहुत काम होता है, नीचे छटपट रहे swans and ducks. That's what you say. It is like that. There is a lot of work that goes into it. So you're seeing 22 players and some umpires, like the 2 umpires on field and 2 across, but there are so many more people who are working behind the scenes. And it's not only about people who are doing the ops. There are people who are doing entertainment. There are cheerleaders. There are people who are running concession stalls and serving food. And there are people who are getting people inside. You're checking your ticket. There is a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing like 30 people and mentioning only 4. But there are a lot of people who work behind. And there are things which go wrong. And there are things which have to be fire fought, so to say, and micromanaged at times, and you think of the worst to get the best. Very honestly, that's how I believe I've seen some of the better managers work, because they know that from A to B, which is the best outcome and the worst outcome, they've covered everything in between. So that is how it is. There are a lot of mistakes also that happen, but match या किसी भी tournament में actually, it's not only about cricket. Any sport that you do, sport में कुछ गलत नहीं होगा, but behind the scenes तो हो रहा होगा कुछ ना कुछ. Somebody will be late, somebody will be early, some VIP will come, some things will get missed. There are times when we've had kits arrived at a tournament literally a day before the tournament, but then you work overnight and you make sure that everyone who's supposed to have whatever they're supposed to have, they have it. So a lot of things happen. Nothing runs perfectly in the world of the board. So I've done sports, and I've been doing maximum amount of sports. But I've done fashion, I've done Bollywood. I've done, I was with Yash Raj. I used to manage an A-list actor. So I've been across
the spectrum.
I've done a lot of management work. So even if you see my Instagram profile, it says Miss Manage a lot, because I've managed a lot of different things. I love sports. I love cricket, I'll be honest, which is why I got into sports. And then I had the fortunate, experience of having worked on, I've done kabaddi, I've worked on badminton, I've done volleyball, I've done golf. So I worked across sports, which is very interesting. But obviously in this country, cricket is the one that gives you maximum opportunities, because सबसे ज़्यादा tournaments cricket में ही होते हैं. And now with all these legend leagues and everything coming up, now that's another point. I wish there were more women-centric legends leagues also.
Yes.
People start. Now that the WPL has started, which was such a big step that the BCCI took, I'm sure there are more women. I know that there are a couple of events that are in talk, so to say, where there'll be more involvement with women. But that is how it grows. It took time. There is no doubt about it. But one big step has led to a lot of different, even for that matter, now that we mention it, I think women commentators, for that matter, came into it only because WPL came into being. Usse pehle itni women commentators bhi, I don't think. I never worked at a time where there was no WPL. My first year in broadcasting, so to say, was when WPL was already in the works. But agar as a viewer, if I try and remember, I don't think we had women commentators per se. We had women presenters. We had Mandira and we have Sanjana, etc. We have a lot of those women. But I can't remember a commentator. I don't think before WPL started, there were any women commentators.
This year we do have one, especially in the IPL.
So that's what I'm saying. But WPL has started.
WPL has started.
I'm saying, so let's take a name. Let's say Anjum Chopra, who's currently, I think in India, she's one of the best, who's Indian face I'm talking about. But WPL 2 साल पहले शुरू हुआ था. उससे पहले I don't remember.
No, even I don't.
I mean, I'm if she was there, maybe we missed it because we're not used to listening to a woman's voice. But I genuinely can't remember. Maybe for some smaller tournaments, but IPL में तो definitely नहीं. Maybe for some other domestic tournaments. But I don't remember, and I'm sorry, Anjum, if you were there and I don't remember. But I'm generally talking as a viewer. That I don't remember listening to a female voice.
No, this year I've heard a lot.
That's insane. But now,
not before.
WPL has started, and people have realized, broadcasters probably have realized that women commentators add to it. It's not like they're there just for the sake of it. And I worked with, not only in Hindi and English, but when we were doing regional languages, I worked with a lot of other commentators who are women who play for some of the other cities or associations. and they are brilliant in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their presentation, how they talk and the insights they bring in. So that is very heartening to see that that opportunity has started. So that makes a lot of difference.
That makes a lot of difference.
WPL की वजह से I think whatever little I saw IPL में उस time भी हमने regional languages में भी brought in some women and it was really good.
But how great was the WPL, the launch of WPL? That first WPL ever was like a rockstar event.
It was. I was there, so I know that I was working in broadcasting at that point of time. But it was really great. I think that is probably one of the best decisions and steps that the Cricket Association in India has taken over the last 10 years. BCCI did really well to not only notice that was required and to hear people because it was being asked for, but to also just put in everything. I mean, it gets the same. I have friends who work on these events and it gets the same kind of regard and passion and work.
Even viewership numbers are quite...
They are brilliant. The first WPL happened mostly in Bombay, so we were at CCI for the event. For one of the matches, I was there, and I was surprised. Even though it's a smaller stadium, but I was surprised that not only was it full, but there were people outside.
Yeah,
there were people waiting and wanting to come inside, which is great. I think it's just very, very good. And I hope it keeps. I mean, now we are going into bigger and bigger stadiums. We are going into different cities, so it will just grow.
And so many new stadiums are getting opened up in like
everywhere.
So many tier 2, tier 3 cities are very heartening, right? The economy and more jobs generation and all of that,
There are a lot of stadiums that have gone into renovation. I just did a tournament recently where I went and saw the Baroda Stadium, which has been renovated. It's so nicely done up. There's a new stadium actually also in Baroda, which is really great. So it is good. It is, like you said, beneficial in every way for people. For everyone. Players also, I'm sure, they'll more opportunities. You're now getting to also, again, it's the same thing what we spoke about IPL about, 18 seasons back, because that's how long it has been. How younger players were getting to play with international players that they look up to. Actually. But it's the same with cricket for women also. Today there are names playing in WPL who the younger girls who are now part of the team might only have seen on television, not even had the opportunity, because tours don't happen as much for women. They are again they're on the rise. But it's so heartening and it'll only do good for the game, especially considering that the game needs to reach to more countries and needs to become bigger in that way. So it'll only be nice. But I hope it happens to other sports.
Actually. But why do you think other sports are not getting that kind of popularity?
Hey, isn't this a question we all have been trying to answer for centuries?
Chicken and the egg question.
I am definitely not equipped to answer this question. I'm not a sports administrator. I don't know, but from a person who's viewed sports and only that, है हमारी country में एक obsession cricket को लेके. But that has been on. And I understand, and I know, especially with social media, you see all these, you're watching this cricket team and but why not this football team or why not this hockey team because we did this. That's very good, but I think till the time we still keep comparing, we will be still in the same rut. You need to just stop comparing and count the apples and the oranges separately and say, oh, the apples are good and the oranges are good. But wo hai comparison. Cricket se compare karna hai. That's the only way I think they get views. It's about TRPs in some ways on social media memes. I really am not equipped to answer why not other. I think there are certain, not only state governments and associations, but also certain people. I know certain industrialists who are putting in more. Again, I had the good fortune of working on both the chess leagues that have happened in India.
I saw it on your social media.
And they're run obviously by Tech Mahindra, which is a Mahindra group company. And I have seen how passionately involved Mr. Mahindra is himself into this whole thing. Like he makes time and he comes for the event and he's involved in certain decision making. So it's very good to see all of that, but it will take time. And I really wish as a person who's done it myself, I'm sure we need to also stop comparing. Hey, cricket ka ek darja hai, but uska matlab nahi hai ki aur koi sports. I mean, we are doing well in other sports now. I hope we were doing much better in Olympics as well. But there has been some growth, if not much.
Tania, I want to know, you said you love cricket. Where did your passion for cricket come from? And was it a particular player or the sport in general?
You were listening when I was talking before we started recording. My passion for cricket, I think, comes from mostly Meri generation, where it's come from the family. Because everyone,
Yes.
all your brothers, fathers, everyone, including my mother actually. My mother used to watch cricket as well. But I started following a lot more cricket because I thought Rahul Dravid was very cute. But he is a gentleman.
Yes.
He's obviously a great player. But having seen Rahul Dravid, I think debuted the year in '96, and that's when I was in class 11th at that time. I remember. So the one thing that I've done, and I think a lot of people in my generation used to do, is TV chala ke hum padhte the. We used to study with the TV on, whatever. मेरे लिए cricket चलता था काफी. So I've seen him debut. I've seen him obviously play cricket over the years, and then the IPL, and I've had the fortune of working with him on certain events while he was playing and even after he has retired. And I think he's brilliant. So I think a lot of my cricket watching is thanks to Rahul Dravid. I used to be in a Rahul Dravid fan club. So shout out to the girls who are in the club with me, because a lot of them are now working in sports.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So he inspired a lot.
Yes. I know from the fan club, I know of a few girls who are now working on sports. For whatever. We'll just give the credit to Dravid. But yeah, they're working
He
on
deserves
sports.
it all.
Yeah, he is. He's brilliant. He's such a gentleman. He's obviously a great player. But it's also very, very interesting listening to him. He speaks really well as well. Whenever he does manage to come out and speak on topics apart from cricket. So it's good. He's very good. Yeah. Can I ask you guys your favorite players now that you've put me in a spot?
Okay, I always so we watched up growing Sachin and all of that, but as you said, it was my family that used to sit and watch, and we used to sit and there was one TV, and you know, you have to
Obviously,
watch
har
what
ghar
they're
mein,
watching. But then I think when Dhoni came in the picture and we won the T20 World Cup, which nobody thought we were going to win, because we had a disastrous World Cup before that, and all the big names sat out of that match, and match by match, like, you know, and I was like, are we winning this? This looks real and authentic. So yeah.
Trivia, not trivia, it's more know me. That was the time when I stopped watching cricket. So CSK?
Yeah.
Well done, both of you. Well done. Cool.
So talking about brands and IPL teams, let's talk about IPL. Which is your favorite team? Which team do you see winning this year?
I don't have a favorite team. I genuinely don't. I have, there are a lot of people who assume it will be Delhi or Bombay, because I am from Delhi, but I live in Bombay. It isn't. The first IPL, it was whichever team Rahul Dravid was. It was RR. Now it's RR.
No.
It should be RR this year, but I really hope RCB win this year. I really hope they do. I think it's time. It's time. It's required in the larger scheme of things. It's required. But yeah, for me, there is no favorite team. Actually, there is no favorite player either. Very honestly, it is. I can't, and I can't say it's only about India. It's also about international. I've worked with international cricketers as well now. एक ही था, एक ही है, एक ही है. I somehow during the course of watching cricket and now working on it, it's not like I developed a fondness for another cricketer. It was always Rahul Dravid. It's like, again, maybe off topic a little bit, but it's like Michael Jackson has always been my musical. You can't say ki, "Arey, he's so gone, so now who?" There is no now who. It'll always be him. Us tarike se it'll always be Rahul. It'll always be Rahul Dravid.
I think that's the same thing for CSK, right? Like Dhoni has been this for me personally.
Yeah.
So once he'll always be part of CSK or whatever. But supporting that team without him, I don't know how it will feel. Like it's always been him.
So that's why team ही नहीं है यार. इसीलिए it's only one player. Team ही नहीं है. So that's good. It's better that way. But I genuinely don't. I don't think the teams also are like they change, right?
Yeah,
it's an ensemble.
change,
They play every time an auction happens. So it is for a lot of people. Yes, I know MI and CSK, and for that matter, even Bangalore. There are city-based fan clubs. But then I think a lot of people there are also player-based backing to a certain team. So it'll always be a number 2 thing for them. Ki hum is team,
Not this
as a
and
team,
that.
maybe because we are from this city. But a lot of,
player.
at the end of the day, there are only 10 cities which have teams, right? There are so many more cities and people living in those cities who will back people player-based more than city-based. Hum Bombay mein rehte hain, ya hum logo koi, for you, CSK is because of a player, not because of a city.
No, I'm South Indian also. Maybe there's the duality there.
Chalo, maan liya, but I'm saying generally,
Yeah.
a lot of people living in Bombay will follow, will have Bombay as a team, but probably if you go to another city where there's not a team, for that matter, even states, you might say ki because I am from Maharashtra, I will support Bombay, but there are again only 10 teams and there are other states in the country. So there are obviously, if you're following cricket and you belong to not that particular city or state, you'll either have a foreigner. I know of a lot of, it's amazing how because of the IPL, I think some of international cricketers, and it is because of the IPL, whatever else anybody might say, have godlike status in the country.
Yeah. SRH?
ABD, I have seen during the World Cup in Bombay, him being chanted in a stadium because it was ABD. And I can think of a few more. You were saying SRH, so obviously David Warner.
David Warner.
He is so popular in this country. I think because of, I don't think IPL ke bina he would have had the kind of fan following that he has. But it is all because of that tournament brought a lot of foreign cricketers closer to the Indian population. Pehle we might have thought of them as enemies or whatever, not enemies per se, but you know what I mean.
Competition.
Yeah, दुश्मनी ही थी, मतलब हिंदी भाषा में बोले तो दुश्मनी ही थी. But no, now they're revered. For that matter, I remember, even as a person who watched cricket, for the longest time, because of the way they play, the Australian cricket team was never our favourite. We always. But when Shane Warne led Rajasthan to win the first IPL, I believe everyone was, and including myself, I was so, and I've seen this firsthand. I've seen the players and the teams because I was working on the tournament, and I used to have a lot of free time. You have to remember that I was with DLF, so it wasn't like I was actively working on the match. I used to go as a sponsorship person for a client, so I used to have a lot of free hand on time in the stadium. So I used to observe the teams, etc., and see practices, etc. He became like a वो Indian हो गया था थोड़ी देर के लिए IPL के time because he led the team to win. And that way I think there have been changes, and for me, people like Kevin Peterson, etc., who I didn't know much about, but to see them play in India and then talk about it, whatever their thoughts might be, whether you agree or whatever they might say on X, you know more about them because they played at the IPL.
So Pat Cummins said a very interesting thing when they won the World Cup, and you had like at least 2 lakh people in the stadium that day and so many watching, and you feel like kings, and then when you go back home and he's like,
it's not the same.
It's not the same. Like you're walking the road and it's like, where is everybody?
No, but then we said this earlier also. In India, cricket is what it is. People call it a religion. People call it everything. It's an obsession. It's everything it is. But it's true. But the thing is, because you said IPL specifically, I believe because of the IPL, it's not only the Indian players and the younger talent that's getting like showcased. It's even the international players who we probably didn't relate to, for lack of a better word, that you relate to more.
Look at Ricky Ponting leading Punjab Kings, and they are the team to win this year. No. If not CSK, I want Punjab to win. And can you believe it? Like
there are a couple of people I know personally very closely who will be very happy to hear you say that Punjab will win because they are Punjab fans, surprisingly.
They put out these matches which go to last minute thrillers, and it's always fun because you end up rooting for them.
But have you ever noticed that is how IPL actually works? They have such close matches that you can't but relate and then stay in that match. But if Super Over ho gaya is so it's all very what a match that was.
You're just like, okay, they are winning. Like, what?
Suddenly. I mean, there are certain times when you want a certain team to win, but then they don't because their matches are so close. But for the love of the game, and again, I know there are a lot of people who think IPL is not proper cricket and it's all Sosha and it's...
Because of the impact player role and all.
No, not even all that. Because of the commercial angle to it as well. And yes, there is a lot of money in the IPL. There is no denying it. But, and there might be things behind the scenes which we don't know about. But you can't take away from the fact that when those players go on the field and when those other people who are working on the tournament are there, they're all working because they want a good game of cricket. I worked on the IPL long back, and I worked on the World Cup, and I worked on other tournaments where some of the tournaments you don't even know the teams probably because they're smaller tournaments. So they can be regional tournaments and all. We work wherever there is work required or personnel required. So there are times when you enter a tournament where you might not even know everything. I worked on tennis ball cricket, by the way, for a couple of years. And I knew nothing about tennis ball cricket. But because I'm involved and you see the passion in other people and you see what's happening, now I know player names and it's amazing. I have to tell you guys this. There is a following for tennis ball cricket and for tennis ball cricketers.
Yes.
Which is so surprising because मैंने स्पोर्ट्स में काम किया और मुझे मालूम भी नहीं था कि टेनिस बॉल क्रिकेट के टूर्नामेंट्स होते हैं और बहुत मेजर स्केल पे होते हैं एंड थैंक्स टू ISPL it's become so big today. Both the ISPLs happened in Bombay. I had the fortune of working on both of them, and it's amazing to see how many people follow it. People want to attend the matches. People know the players. The players have a social media following, and there are people who are working behind the scenes to make sure that it becomes an even bigger success. So much so that now we hear that there might be other tournaments around tennis ball cricket. So everything in that way is growing. It's amazing. It's good for the sport. It's good for people. And again, if anyone is listening, I hope there are women playing soon. I don't. Actually, that's something to research about. I don't even know if there are tennis ball women tournaments because I don't think I've heard of it even while I was working on the tennis tournament, tennis ball tournament. But I hope that is. I mean, again, we come back to the crux of it of do we have representation, and if we don't, maybe we will very soon.
Very soon, yeah.
That is what counts.
But what makes you think, because at one time there was fervor for cricket, but there was equal fervor for hockey, maybe a little bit regional fervor for kabaddi, and they have not moved with the momentum as much as cricket. What has cricket done right, or what push did they get? Again,
I don't know I'm equipped to answer a question like that. I completely believe in one thing as a viewer. Again, football के बहुत लोग शौकीन हैं इस देश में. I mean, you go into certain pockets in this country, football is the main game. It actually isn't cricket. I think the way cricket, I believe, yes, winning the World Cup in '83 did have its own impact in terms of we were very young. We were what 3-4 year old at that point of time. But you can't take away from the fact that cricket has been marketed in a certain way, promoted and marketed in a certain way, taken to people in a certain way. Especially in the bigger cities, I believe you may or may not have played football, but literally everyone plays cricket. And it's not because they play with the bat and ball. हम लोगों ने सबने hand cricket भी खेला है और
leg cricket खेला है.
The name in terms of recall, I think it's just inbuilt into our DNA and our genes or in our system, whatever you might want to say. Because हम सब ने hand cricket, one tappa out, we've all done it, no? But we've not played football or hockey. Actually, strangely, if I think about it, from my time in school, we've played table tennis and basketball more than we've played any other sport, team sport per se. हम सब ने running की है, सब ने try किया long jump करना, but बहुत कम लोग ऐसे होंगे जिन्होंने, और सबने किसी ना किसी type का cricket किया. I mean, to the extent where I'm saying book cricket was a thing that we all used to play. I don't know if you guys ever, I have in my generation. So it's just that cricket word, I think, is just like,
it's like an emotion.
It's like mummy papa cricket. It is an emotion. And like I said, I've been fortunate enough to work on other sports. So I have seen the passion for other sports, but I think it's in very small pockets. Cricket for some reason just became an Indian phenomena. And it is strange, and kudos to probably BCCI and the players and how we look at the players, and because for the longest time we didn't win a tournament. I mean, there's a big gap between us being World Cup winners. So it's not like क्योंकि हम जीत रहे थे तो cricket became an obsession. Actually, cricket became an obsession when we were not at the world level, we were not winning too much. And obviously, all said and done, IPL has a big role to play. You can't take that away. It just became 2020 cricket just became a phenomenon. It did.
T20 cricket.
It just became a phenomenon. How, where, why? I don't think the people who started it can give you an answer of why did it become. But it did. They probably worked the right
formula
things.
combination. Yes.
You know, city-based. You had players who were marquee players who were in your team because you've got them. And they were, I mean, for most part, they were centric to that region. But then you also have, like you said, a Dhoni. You have a Virat, who don't belong to that city. But they are today that city. When you think of Virat, you think of Bangalore, you never think of Delhi.
Actually,
You don't. So, in a way, that IPL did a lot.
So segueing into IPL, how, like you said, IPL did a lot to contain and grow the fervor. Like a lot of, I think, Gen Z, even millennials, got out of touch of cricket and they were into other sports like football and all of that. But people do support regional teams in IPL.
Yes.
That it's like a fervor. And marketing played a big role, everything. But they got the combination right of T20
Very true.
plus.
Very true.
And how you were part of the original IPL?
I was, like I said, I mean, it's stretching it a little bit to say that I was a part of the IPL, but I was a part of the IPL because I wasn't working on the tournament. Like I said, I was working with the principal sponsor, the title sponsor. But I got to see a lot of... I was one person who was traveling from match to match. So when you reach the stadium, you're one of the few people who are there at the stadium. So you tend to hang out with the people who are working there. Otherwise, who are you with? So I hung out with a lot of people who were working on the tournament. And some of them, like I said, were foreigners. So you learn a little bit, you understand. My aim, and I think in retrospect, I can say that that's where that conviction, yes, I want to do sports, became even stronger. I always wanted to work in cricket because that was the goal. But I didn't know what I want to do. I mean, I was an event manager at the end of the day. I didn't have the understanding of how a stadium is run. And I learned that, I think, once I saw people working on the IPL because that's what happened in the first IPL. And then I worked on the third IPL. Second, obviously, went to South Africa. Unfortunately, it is like that. And it's true for everyone. That's when the women and men thing doesn't come into play. Because when you're working on something, you're working on that thing. So you have to be at the stadium at a particular time and you have to leave the stadium. There is no particular time. There isn't. You leave when work is done.
When work is done. Yes.
And yes, I can't take away from the fact that I have worked mostly in India and I've worked, you can't take away from the fact that if even today, the majority of the workforce on a tournament or an event will be men. It'll have more women than it did before, but it's still majority. And yes, your colleagues do take care of you in certain ways because, I mean, safety is safety.
Yes.
You can't be like just all out. But I've also seen women understand that balance, girls understand that balance today and make the most out of it, which is the way to go. I mean, there are times when you probably can't sit in a stadium alone at 3 o'clock being a girl, which is a game.
Yeah, most of the
But you can, as a man, you might sit at a stadium at 3. Not recommended at all. Please always be in a team. And it's not about safety in terms of somebody coming and attacking you or anything. It's also generally you can be tired, you can fall ill, whatever might happen. So alone to anyway nobody, but for a woman it's difficult. It's more and people do take care of that strength in that way. But I've also seen women take that opportunity and run with it in terms of making a mark and then saying, yes, we can do this. This is the way we will work. You adjust your times, you do shifts. If I am going later to a stadium, I'll make sure that the person who's gone earlier comes back early. So you do these kind of things and you work and that is the kind of systematic change, so to say, that needs to come. So it's not only about will women make it into sports, they are. But you cannot take away from the fact that you can't do it if you don't have the right kind of team and support. You can't take away that fact. You cannot do it alone. And you cannot do it alone in any aspect of life.
Actually.
I mean, for all the women liberalization that we might want, अकेले कैसे करोगे? नहीं कर सकते.
It's a very unique perspective, right? These barriers to entry are not ingrained in men, but like we have to work around all this.
But you know, it's barrier to entry. Yes, I agree with what you're saying. But I believe, and I've seen that considering I've been working for a very long time now, the way men used to perceive women in their teams, even in events when I started working, to how they perceive women in their teams today, even that mindset has changed. And that also again is kudos to the maturity in the men or the boys who are working on this tournament, or the way they're now seeing tournaments being run. So they see women running it, so they know that there is respect. जब हम थे पहले शुरू में तो उतना नहीं था. पहले देखा जाता अरे हाँ मतलब इसको ना ये वाला काम दे दो. At the end of the day, notes लेना or there are certain aspects of the event and the sports industry that you could work in. Today you can do anything and nobody will stop you because it's open that way. So that mindset change is definitely there, and again people have to accept that. And when I say people, I mean men or boys have to accept that mindset change for that change to come. Like I said, you can't do it alone. You can't. It's not a war. It's just about getting to a situation where you work together,
collaborate,
and it is happening for sure, slowly, but it's happening. I will actually say I think it's slower because you brought it up. It's slower from the athlete perspective. I think there needs to be more done for the athletes, female athletes. Also, their personal lives should be left for their personal lives. I don't think, and I think it happens more to women still, though it might happen to men as well. तो उसने अपनी personal life में ये कर लिया तो, but she will still be an athlete. She'll still play or compete or do whatever. So all those changes are slowly happening. But yeah, a lot of people might just say it's because of the glamour part of it, probably. But if you think about it, most of the IPL team owners who are in talks or are the faces are women.
Yeah, that is another aspect of IPL I love so much.
Yeah.
Because when you see football clubs and all, it's men. Coaches men.
So here also, again, I understand when people say, oh, glamour part ke liye, but what they don't know is that these women are involved.
Ballbusters, yeah.
And they're involved,
Yes.
yeah. Because back end pe jab, theek hai, I understand that as an owner, you cannot be strategizing because you probably might not understand, but having been an owner for a while and you follow cricket, you at least understand certain dynamics. So they have their word. Balki I think the female owners, the women owners are doing better in terms of handling a team than some of the male owners. No names will be taken.
Yes, but we all know.
But we all know. Yeah, there is a code of conduct. I understand passion.
Yes.
And again, this is not to make fun of anybody, but there is a code of conduct. You expect that
handled with so much grace and
exactly.
dignity.
You expect when a player is playing, and we all know players get aggressive on field, and we've seen even off field there have been situations, but for the most part, you expect a player to hold himself as a player and have a certain grace and a certain way of talking or approaching a situation. You're not even an athlete, you need to have that. You can have aggression and passion, and I know, I mean, I have seen it. I've traveled with these owners. Certain things should not be done, and it's true for anybody. It's got nothing to do with man, woman. I think it's आप ड्रेसिंग रूम में जाके जो मर्जी बोलो,
कैमरा के सामने
नहीं, कैमरे के सामने की बात भी नहीं है यार. आप one on one कर रहे हो conversation, why do you have to make it a public spectacle?
Correct.
But that's also, again, to each his own. It happened. I wish it was something which was a one-off. Unfortunately, I personally don't see it as a one-off. I see
repetitions, right?
Yeah.
So much I want to say on this, but then we
shouldn't. I think we'll just digress on the main topic. But the main topic being that you see the representation of women owners also. Again, for all that anybody might say कि वो glamour aspect है, वो girl card play कर रहे हैं, हाँ कर रहे हैं. By the way, that's a hard lesson in life that I learned. गर्ल कार्ड में प्रॉब्लम क्या है? मुझे भी लगता था कि आई एम गोइंग टू डू दिस इज नॉट शुडंट हैपन बिकॉज आई एम अ गर्ल इन स्पाइट ऑफ मी बीइंग अ गर्ल दिस हैपन, बट दैट्स नॉट, आई मीन men have used them being men for their advantage for centuries. And nobody is saying that you need to go and do things that you shouldn't or that are not morally acceptable. But I'm talking about, yes, there are times in situations where we have been put in the forefront as members of a team, where the team knows that a girl going in and talking to somebody will just make either a softer impact or will make that person listen, or maybe if it's a man across the table, it can only be respect to a woman that he will not raise his voice or be obnoxious about something. There can be obnoxiousness also. There is no denying that. But for most part, I'm saying there are times when you have to play the girl card, and I don't see a problem with that. Till it's in certain boundaries. Again, like I said, I'm not saying go do things that you're not supposed to. Or
I think Harsha Bhogle said somewhere that, if you leave it to the owners, they'll run the IPL for 6 months. Because more viewers, more numbers, more conversions. But they have to work with ICC also in that regular cricket is not interrupted.
I don't know in what context Harsha said that and what his take on it was. But me personally, and again, not as someone who works in sport, मेरे लिए तो 6 महीने हो तो it's good for everyone. Everyone will get to work that much more. But personally, having seen some other formats in other sports, it's also because it is for the duration it is. I think if you stretch it, it might just get boring. You can't play for 6 months non-stop.
No, even for I think football had taken over because of that 90-minute stretch, right? That timing. So timing matters.
But football also now, I believe, and again, this is personal opinion, I think when they changed, when the football league changed its span, I do believe there is a certain dip.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's true or not in terms of numbers because I haven't seen the numbers. But I feel that the longer you play, आप रोज तो नहीं खेलोगे.
Correct.
It's also burnout, no? At the end of the day. See, the other thing that works for the IPL and whether it's cleverly done or it's a window that luck had, you work in the IPL. I mean, not work. Sorry, you play the IPL April, May, which is also a holiday time in India. So a lot of more students are free. Colleges, they do, a lot of these stadiums and owners, franchisees, they do special programs for students. Makes a lot of difference in terms of involvement. And it is a fan-run sport at the end of the day, right? The more anything is, any sport is. But the more fans you have, the more you'll pump into it, the more you'll get results. And I believe that's totally true for IPL. That way is, like I said, whether it's happened in that way or it has been designed in that way, this timing of IPL also works, and the BCI has stuck to its gun and said, this is it. This window we are not changing. Well, peak summers, Actually. Can you imagine the people who work on it? Forget the people who play.
42-degree weather, that RR match.
You will not believe, to be at a stadium at 2-1 in the afternoon in the peak of summers, and I'm talking again north in Rajasthan. You can be in Bombay, you sweat like a pig in 5 minutes if there's no AC. But there are people who work non-stop. And it's not only the IPL, actually any other tournament. It's easy to say, but we worked in a situation where you are stuck inside because it's raining, and then when it stops raining, you're out trying to make sure that whatever needs to happen because, like they say, the show and the game must go on. Which is why you don't see the chaos on broadcast. But you know that there's something. I mean, obviously, if it's rained in a stadium and you see that little glimpse of the groundsman running and trying to get the ground clear, and but that's only the ground. There's so many other things that are happening. There are not only people involved in the sport, so to say, in terms of, scorers ho gaye, umpires ho gaye, or whoever the admins. There are people who are running the show who have to make sure on little things. There are guests to be taken there, or there must be. So, in terms of aspects, there's hospitality, like saying there are guests. There has to be certain food and water arrangements being made. There's housekeeping that has to be clean. There are toilets in a stadium. There can be kids. There could be fan areas that are being run. There can be sponsor stalls because sponsors have to be taken. So imagine the amount of people who are doing so much in the back end because something got delayed on field. आपको सिर्फ field में बारिश होते हुए दिख रही है और सफाई होते हुए दिख रही है. But आसपास, I mean, there's no doubt that people stay. They have their umbrellas. They're fans. But always remember that there are a lot of other people working in the back who are doing things which probably nobody else thinks of generally when you go to see. I mean, I've seen people get angry at stadiums because they had to wait for food at times, or they had to wait in a line to get in. But see the enormity of it. It's huge.
Of it is
it's big. You can't get angry on things like this. I mean, yes, there are celebrities and they get easy access. But how will you fight that? Can you fight it in any other place?
No.
I mean, in our places of worship, we can't fight it. So how will you? You can't compare yourself to a team owner also. No?
True.
I think basics of it is wrong at times. But it is what it is. You have to give kudos to the people who work on the back end. And again, it's not only cricket. I think it's every sport or every big event happens, again, might be a little segue, but even things like concerts, etc. You see a concert, you see one artist that you love performing on stage, you realize how many people are at the back of it just to make sure that proper light runs and the proper sound comes and it's run like a proper show. It takes a lot. Event management takes a lot. It's not all glamour. Trust me, I would know. And I've worked on all aspects. I've done sports. Like I said, I've done films. I've done concerts. I've done fashion. So it's not all glamour. I wish it was. It wasn't.
Okay. So we'll wrap up. So generally we do a rapid fire round, but today we'll be doing a hot take because it's a sports and women cricket and all those things.
Okay.
First is, female broadcasters know the game better than half of the ex-cricketers on panel. Agree or disagree?
I think we kind of address this in whatever I have seen. I don't think there's a better or a more or worse. But female cricketers know as much, if not more, than their male colleagues.
Okay. One female cricketer who deserves her own talk show.
Oh, Anjum, for sure. Have you met her? She is brilliant. I obviously, again, guilty, but I obviously always didn't follow women's cricket as much. Guilty, not even going to deny it. But I've met her. I worked with her. And then I've also, because we were working with her, I've seen a little bit of her earlier, like when she was playing and her history, so to say, her journey, so to say. She is amazing. I mean, she has that, she's quirky. She's a quirky chick. I love her. She's brilliant.
One cricket show or segment that seriously needs more female voices.
Segment?
Or show?
No, I don't.
The commentary or the broadcaster.
See, I think all of it does. I'm not going to say that a woman's perspective, again, not equipped to and don't have the authority to. But it is, you definitely need more women to get involved, and they are. We can see it, like you said, in the IPL also now you have. But is there one thing we've tried as broadcasters? I know that we did it when Jio did the first year of IPL. We had a women-centric feed where Sania Mirza was involved. But at times you also realize that, yes, a lot of women might follow cricket because of the glamour of it or because they like one of the cricketers. But ऐसा नहीं है कि knowledge बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. You don't have to mansplain cricket to a woman. And it happens, by the way. It happens even to people like me who worked on so many sports, but I still at times get mansplain. No, I don't want to know the technical aspects of it. I don't want to because I don't play. Not because I'm not interested in the game. Do I want to know how many degrees a ball turned? No, I don't want to. Not because I am averse to learning, but मेरा interest नहीं है उतना. सबका अपना अपना होता है. And yes, boys might have more interest in it, but that doesn't mean I don't understand that the ball swung or turned, or there's onside and there's offside. And it's true, I think, for most sports. I mean, we take the analogy of cricket all the time because that's what we consume the most. But it's true for anything. मुझे chess नहीं आता, बिल्कुल नहीं आता, अभी तक नहीं आता. But इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि मुझे ये नहीं पता कि black pieces होते हैं और white pieces होते हैं और board there are 64 squares on the board, or there are squares on the board. But I'm not interested. It doesn't mean that I am stupid or I need to be explained the game, which is why I don't think it's a man or a woman thing. I know a lot of men who don't understand chess either. I think it's just about interest. It's about involvement. Yes, there is no denying that even in a sport like chess, I have seen people who follow because of certain people who play it. But again, chess mein you still need an interest in chess to know that there was a player. Before I worked on chess, I had no idea except for Vishwanathan Anand. I don't think we had heard anybody's name. But there needs to be an interest and you follow it. And then obviously there are people like Vishwanathan Anand who make a mark and you remember them. But that then is true for me personally for football. And it might be true for someone for cricket also. So I can't say कि एक specific aspect में women's का, it's not an emotional thing. कहीं कुछ emotional हो, so you need women more because we are emotionally more intelligent. No denying it. But I can't say it's required for this.
Should WPL matches be broadcast with only female commentators to make a statement?
Not at all. Never. No. I think they tried it one time, but no.
Okay.
It needs to have. See, I'll tell you something. A lot of male broadcasters initially were a little wary of doing commentary on WPL because. Again, the game is not followed, but today it is. So they are more open, they are more with it. Research happened a lot more on WPL from both men, actually from men more, because they might not have known certain players. See, research happens even in IPL because एक 14 साल का लड़का suddenly आके जीत गया, not necessarily has become a part of the team, doesn't mean that all the commentary panel will know who he is.
Who he is, yes.
Somebody might if you come from that association or that region, but not necessarily. So research goes on for everyone. But WPL has opened up the game for a lot of probably broadcasters who didn't know much about the women's side of the cricket as well, and now they do because they're involved. They're much more involved.
Nice. Who has more screen presence, Mayanti Langar or Harsha Bhogle?
Arey bapre. Screen presence. They're two very different people, yeah. If you had pitted two commentators together, Harsha is a presenter, commentator. Mayanti is only a presenter. She doesn't do commentary. It's personal choice, but I love Harsha. I mean, nothing
doing this for
nothing
long.
at all.
Yeah.
We've seen him for long, and again, nothing against Mayanti. Mayanti has a great presence. She's great in front of the camera. She holds the confidence of running an entire show. But Harsha knows the game also. So he's one of those unique ones who's not a cricketer but a commentator. And again, they're two very different people. I don't think usme wo male female wala tha. Ab do presenters ko dalo to maybe I will be like, okay, fine.
A male commentator you love to see take a back seat and let the woman run the show.
Hello, I work in this industry. No, I will not comment on that at all. Can I just not? I cannot confirm or deny this at all that there's somebody like that.
If
But
you
there
had
are.
to,
Yeah.
if you had to build an all-female IPL analysis squad, what is your top 3 picks?
Arey bapre. Oh my God. Only Indian women?
Yeah.
Anjum. I mean, again, this will be a little biased because I've worked with these people, so I know how they are. I'm sure there are other people who are doing very well, but I have not worked with them, so I don't know them that well. But Anjum, Veda and Reema, they are all cricketers who I have worked with as part of the commentary team I was handling, and they are brilliant women. They are just outstanding. So if you're looking at only Indian commentary people, these 3 women.
Okay. Which Indian female cricketer would absolutely kill it as a commentator post-retirement?
Oh, Jemima.
Oh.
Oh, she'll be brilliant. She'll be brilliant. She is so cool. I love her. She's so cool.
Awesome.
What's one annoying stereotype about women in cricket that needs to die already?
For the cricketers or for people working on cricket?
Everybody involved, even the viewers.
She's a woman. Yes, we are, but we can do a lot.
One bold prediction: in 5 years, women will dominate dash in Indian cricket team media.
Which field of media?
Everything. I don't know if again, I'm not trying to have the Miss Universe answer, but I don't think it's about dominating. I think merit, like we spoke earlier. Women have the merit to make it as big as we know some of the male counterparts are today. Okay. So yeah.
So in IPL, which young Indian players impressed you the most?
So many,
They're just so, there's so many. And again, I don't have affiliation to a particular team or a particular player, so to say. So there are some matches somebody impresses, and then, I mean, even with the older players for that matter, I'm very amazed by certain players at their age that they're coming again without taking certain names, but we know that there is a 14-year-old who's made it to a team.
Suryavanshi.
I don't know,
and it was
but
so cute. He played such a great innings.
Yeah, I saw that. I know.
But that's his age. Yeah, exactly.
I really like Yashashvi, but
Yashashvi
I
Jaiswal.
think
His story is also so inspiring.
I know. I mean, story apart and history apart, so to say, but there is some spark in him. He's like what I think if 3 years back someone had asked me that question, I would have said about Shubman also to a certain extent. So if he stays grounded, I believe he can make it big.
In IPL, an overseas player who has made the biggest impact.
ABD. ABD. For me, I don't think I can think of an arm. And obviously, there are people like Chris Gayle who've come in and played so well and made an impact, because Chris in himself will make an impact where he goes. But the kind of passion I've seen for ABD, and I mentioned it earlier, I think it's ABD. I think he just, again, I can take more names. David Warner, he's imbibed the Indian culture. But impact on the IPL, on the team, on cricket in general, as somebody who's not from India, for me it'll be ABD.
Okay. Which match this season has been the most thrilling and why?
Oh, the Super Over.
RRCC. That was amazing.
I
thought it was like okay.
So again, I probably don't see ball to ball on every match because of work also at times, and because sometimes you just are doing something else. I follow every match. I kind of try and keep my scores are pinned on my phone. But that game, I missed the Super Over, by the way. I was driving at that time. But
Mitchell
I saw
Stark with that over.
I'd gone for an event that day, but then I was following and I'm like, oh, how did they win? And then I came and saw the highlights, and obviously they were
even the KKR Punjab Kings low scoring match, that was so good.
Which Punjab obviously kind of defended also so well. I'm assuming you're talking about the same match. Such matches are great because you feel like there is a balance. Nahi to sare batsmen, I mean, it's the usual cry also, na ki, oh, it's a batsman's game. You know, IPL mein sare matches are, if you've hit so many runs. But that was also a good game. But I think anything which has a super over, it just adds to the excitement. I don't think it's got so much to do with the game. It's more to do with the fact that there was something different from any other match.
Which team's death bowling has stood out this season?
I wish I had seen every match ball to ball. But I haven't, so I don't know if I can comment on it. I think we'll have to say Punjab, I guess, because they managed to defend such a low score. But no, I don't think I've seen every match.
The IPL is known for drama. Any controversial moments that stood out?
The IPL is known for drama. Such an understatement. We spoke about one of those.
The 2016-17.
नहीं, हमने तो अभी की बात की है, ma'am. Last year की. There are moments, but then what is life without drama? There are many moments, and again, when you will ask from the perspective of on-field, on-screen. We know of a lot of drama that happens behind the scenes. Of course, there's drama. There are things that go wrong. There are things that go right. So there's euphoria in terms of, oh my God, this did so well, and you cry because of that. There's emotions. There's so much emotion behind the scenes also. Of course, there's drama. There's drama everywhere, and it's in the IPL as well.
Which team has the momentum to lift the trophy, according?
यार मैं इतनी बार बोल चुकी हूँ इस podcast में. Momentum तो I think 2-3 teams में है. You will also agree. But I think it's time RCB won it this. I really think it's time they won. They may or may not.
Punjab Kings for the win.
Punjab bhi hai. I mean, we know a couple of them who most definitely will not make it to the top 4. But yes, there's obviously Punjab. You did mention DC is there. RCB is doing well. MI started doing well. But that's again very MI. They in the second half of the tournament,
they just dominate.
They come up again. So yeah, hey, 2-4 teams in abhi midway. I think a couple of them are doing very well, and then they lost a few matches, but that's how IPL runs.
And we're nicely sitting at the bottom of the table.
IPL क्या हर tournament में यही होता है. I think I've seen that in the World Cups as well at times. I mean, some teams just come up because they suddenly start winning. It's just that IPL has so many more matches, unlike a World Cup where you'll have fewer matches to make up the distance that you might have from another team.
If you could trade one player between 2 teams, who and why?
Arey baap re. My point is, do I love any team that much that I want to trade? If I could trade a player, then I would just put Rahul Dravid in one team. Put him in one.
Yes, we wheel him in the wheelchair.
We'll ask if Michael Jackson can perform in a wheelchair, Rahul Dravid can play in a wheelchair. But no, I don't think I have affiliation to a team that I honestly don't. I mean,
Okay.
it's not like I'm trying to have a diplomatic answer. मेरा है ही नहीं.
Maybe one good bowler for SRH. Their bowling squad lacks.
Healthy Naaris cricket.
Now you know. Hello,
What happened to SRH?
Miss Maran, if you're listening. Yeah, no. My affiliation is not to a team. Any team that's doing well, and very honestly, certain matches, I'll be like, okay, I hope this team wins rather than this team. But 70% of the matches, I'll be like, good game of cricket, because मेरा नहीं है. अगर होता, then it's different. I don't have a. I'm sure people in Bombay and CSK or SRH might want some players in their teams or not in their teams, but. Rahul Dravid को डाल दो किसी भी टीम में. He's come out of retirement.
No, right now, I want CSK to prove people wrong. Like, keep the same playing 11 and make them better players, which is the format of that team.
A certain commentary panel person who I also know will not agree with you. He has said it on air.
No, I want them to prove people wrong. Everybody's like, the CSK's loss is charm.
As idealistic and Bollywood that is, I don't know if that's happening. But we'll see.
99%.
There's still half a tournament to go.
There's still half a tournament.
So we'll see.
What rule or format change would you like to see in the IPL?
What rule or format change?
Oh, interesting.
Format change, no. I think the format is T20 and I think that's good. Rule. I think they should have that, again, I might be mistaken, so correct me because you both also follow, but that impact play should be in both sides, both innings. You know what I mean? Right now we have impact play only when you're batting, correct?
No, you can
You have
do
it in
that
bowling
as
as well?
yeah. You can switch in your fielder or bowler.
You can do a substitute. Can you do an impact player?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, then I'm definitely not. Then let me think. कुछ interesting करें? She has some ideas. I can see it from her expression.
You answer this.
I know she has some ideas. You should just say the question again, and we should just say what I'll bring it back to you guys.
Any bold predictions for the remaining matches?
अभी ये मुझे मारेगी. She's literally going to get up and hit me. RCB will win IPL 2025. No, I really wish they do. I mean, genuinely.
No, they won't.
They won't. They will.
No.
I wish they do. But yeah, see, IPL is fun.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't have any team के साथ association as such कि मुझे ये सी team.
Oh.
So I watch the matches, or even if I'm following the game, I follow it for the game. Whoever wins, I'd rather somebody new wins. If that's a statement that has to be made,
Yeah.
I'd rather somebody new wins. That's required, I think.
It's true. As you've seen, we had so much interesting takes and anecdotes.
As a thank you, we did not thank her. It's a lovely conversation.
We've done a lot of different things. We've said a lot of different things. I'm part of the podcast now.
Thanks for coming.
I thank myself for being on this podcast.
Thank you
I thank them for calling me. They've obviously had a good time, which is very good for me because I feel like it's been productive day.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
Absolutely.
Your insight and your take, and
My take more than my insight. I will admit that I think it's more from my perspective, obviously, because I will only talk from. I can't. I don't have authority to say कि ऐसा होता है क्योंकि मुझे नहीं मालूम है. But whatever you see and whatever you learn from, whatever you notice. I believe that women will make an impact. I believe they're already doing that and it'll keep growing. And it's good for all sports. I hope more women commentators in other sports.
Yes.
Actually.
We don't have too many in football or hockey. For
Yeah.
So cricket pe hum focus karte hain as usual, but I hope.
But then that way, also cricket has made those changes the
That's what I'm
necessary
saying.
times.
That's what I'm
right?
saying. I
Yeah.
hope more women commentators and women involvement in other sports, considering the focus of talking on this was to see how much involvement it is. We catch cricket because again it's popular, but then do the same things in other sports and maybe your
they
sport
don't.
will also grow and have the kind of impact that cricket is having today. Inclusivity.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for joining us in this fun podcast. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe Healthy Naaris.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.